All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Searching for Happiness podcast. I am your host, Joseph Grable, and today I have with me good friend, filmmaker, writer, and director, John Williams. How you doing today, man?
Wonderful. Fucking hot.
It's so hot outside, dude.
It's ridiculous.
It says, I checked the weather, it said it was only 90, and I call absolute bullshit.
No, it's weird because, like, I get in my car and it says like 104. And I know, and I'm like, all right, that's a little bit of exaggeration. Car's been sitting out here all day. But then I look at my phone and it's like 91. And I'm like, nah, this ain't like,
Yeah, no,
it was 91 a couple weeks ago. And that's manageable. Like 91's hot, but 91's manageable.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be over 100 this week. And that's what they've been talking about. They've been talking about like reducing power usage between certain hours because they're scared of rolling blackouts out here. And I mean, it's the literal dog days of summer, bro. I mean, that's what it is. That's the time of year.
It's so gnarly, dude. I don't do good in heat, so I'm like shot. You walked into my place. It was like an ice cold freezer. Like
yeah, it's great.
I just like ran away. I run away from heat, man. I can't handle it, which is ironic because I live in Los Angeles.
But you're from Oregon, right?
Yeah,
so you get real winters up there.
Yeah, we do too. Do you guys get winters in Kansas City?
So yeah, we do. It's real hot and like humid during the summer. So that's one of the benefits of like it could be like 85 degrees out there, but with the humidity and stuff, it's so thick. Like as soon as you walk outside, it's like in your,
That's how Oregon gets in the summer.
Yeah,
as well.
and then but it gets real cold in the winter too. You'll have some of those days where it's weird and it's like in the 60s in the summer, in the winter, and it's like, all right, that's not right. But it gets real cold, and then the bitch of it is it doesn't always snow. So you'll have full winters where there's no snow. So you'll like look out your window one day, bright sunshiny day, but it's like 10 degrees. And it's like, that's just like God playing a fucking trick on you. Because like, if you look outside and you see a bunch of snow, right? You go, oh, snow, cold, right?
Yeah.
You look outside, you see sunshine, you're like, oh, today might be.
Yeah, that's true.
We get like ice storms and stuff too, which ice storms are exciting. They're fun. I don't know. It's weird because I talk to people from back home and they hate the snow. Like a bunch of people that I know, like they don't like the cold.
I hate
like
snow.
I've always dug the cold. Like it's one of the things I miss, like being out here. I miss like autumn. Like I miss the smell, like the crispy smell of like when leaves start to change and like you can feel it starting to get cold and it's like, we used to call it like hoodie weather. It's like, oh, now it's time to wear a hoodie.
Yeah, same here.
But you do kind of get that out here, like in the off season. There'll be days where it's kind of cold. Like as soon as that sun goes away, it gets chilly. But it's not the same. Like you still can't go and have like a bonfire. You know what I mean? Like you still can't do that. But then in the winter and shit, like I don't know. Sometimes it gets real cold, but it's like I don't know. I kind of miss it. Like I like the change. Like you get used to something for so long, and then you're like ready for it to fucking change. And it feels good, like when it's like, okay, it's cold, but it's only gonna be cold for a few months, and it's gonna be hot again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I miss winter, but I don't miss snow. I miss like you know how you were like
snow.
you're in LA. You were saying with like autumn, you love the smell. You love the just the what it brings. Same for winter. Like I love Christmas and I love like the winter
chestnuts roasting on an open
fire. But the minute I touch snow, I'm like, no, I'm good. It's just like I don't know. I grew up like like your winters are very similar to ours in Oregon. Is like sometimes it wouldn't be anything during winter. Like it's just like sunny and it's like 60 degrees out. But then when I was a kid, winters in Oregon, at least where I grew up, which is like Bend, Oregon area, it would get so like we'd get like 4 feet or something like that.
See, that's insane. I want that. Like we never had anything like we had like crazy winters sometimes where you'd get like maybe a foot of snow.
Yeah.
Right? And it would be like legit for like a week because like the whole kind of city would shut down. But that very rarely happens. Usually it's just a few inches of snow. Whatever. Enough ground cover. A little bit. You can go fucking play in the snow or whatever. But like, I don't know. Like, it's just, Snow's awesome, man. It's like
it's awesome
still
till you
even
drive in it.
But no, that's great too, because like if you know how to drive in the snow, it's kind of fun. I mean, like going into like we used to go in like the fucking elementary school parking lot, just like pull donuts.
Oh shit. Yeah, so dude,
like,
I can't even tell you how many countless donuts I did with my buddy like in the high school.
And I had when I was 16, I had a 95 Ford Taurus, and it was front wheel drive, so I couldn't do regular donuts.
Mm-hmm.
But put that shit in reverse, and you can do reverse donuts like real hardcore, and it was like that was like a blast. Like I remember one time we're driving down. So I lived like 6 miles out of the town. So you'd have to get on the highway. It'd be like, 10 minutes to get into town. So I was like,
are you sure we didn't live in the same town? Because like it was 6 miles from my house to town too.
We didn't have no mountains or pine trees, man.
Okay,
like,
that's fair.
Yeah. But so we'd be driving down this highway, and it was a snow day, right? It's middle of the day, snow day. And me and my friend, I don't know, it's fucking sophomore or junior year. But I was always like, I was a little bit older than everyone. So like I started driving first or driving everybody.
Yeah.
Right. And we were driving, snow day, and we were smoking a blunt in the car. Right. Like hotbox the car, listen to some fucking stupid music or something. Driving down the highway, and up in the distance, because you could it was like a flat part of the highway. You could see fucking a mile down the road.
Yeah.
And you just saw police lights. Like there was somebody had gone off the median into the middle, like swerved off the road. So like a sheriff was pulled over there.
Oh shit. Okay.
And you're like 16 years old. It's like as soon as we see that, all of us sort of freeze. And it was like me, a buddy, and a dude in the back seat. And I just ever so slightly tapped the brakes, like out of instinct, like seeing a cop, you're smoking weed. Weed was illegal at this time.
Yeah, I was about to ask. Right? I was like, was it even
weed
legal?
Was illegal in Missouri. You'd still get fucking popped for weed. I tapped the brakes, and we started like just going out of control, right? And I was like, we can't go off the road. So we did like 2 full donut 360s, like going like slowed down, but like, going 30, 40 miles an hour, like donutting forward. And it was like out of a movie, like, ah! and then we ended up facing backwards, looking at all this traffic coming towards us. So I like put the car in reverse and did like a spinny 180, and then we fucking corrected, and all of us like done screaming, silent, blunts just smoking up, burning. And we just slowly drove past the sheriff. Like nobody was talking. And it was like
dude, oh my god, dude. God, that's why, like, that's a reason why I miss winter too.
Yo, like, I fucking love it. It's exciting. You don't get that kind of shit in the summer.
Yeah. You don't get like that type of thrill.
You're just sweaty.
Dude, I think the only time I really had like a car issue in winter, bro, was I was actually on a date. It was like a first date, and I'm actually that relationship like never worked out. Like it didn't last long, and I'm actually like still really good friends with her.
Yeah.
And we went on our first date ever. I was driving in Bend, and it was really like slippery outside.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think I was driving like a 2008 Honda or something like that. It wasn't even my car. Like I was borrowing it from like my mom.
Right.
I think I was like 16 or something like that. And there was like this patch of ice, and I thought I'd be smart and smooth. I was like, I'm gonna drift into this little parking
You can't do that with ice.
I know. I was like, we'll drift into this parking lot. And like I literally didn't even get to the drifting part. I like tapped on my brakes, like you said in your story, and like the car just started like turning. And then like the next thing I know, like my like front tire goes over the curb, and like it like pops the whole tire.
Fucks up your alignment.
It fucks up the whole alignment. And so like I spent my first date with this girl
fixing a tire. Out in the snow.
Yeah.
Dude, but that's like ice and snow are they're two different elements. Like they're two different forms of water.
True.
Like
it's true.
You can actually get some traction on some snow, and like ice you don't. Like there's no friction. Like you'll slide. Like I always heard, and in my experience is like when you hit a patch of ice, don't push the brakes, don't push the gas, don't swerve the wheel, just ride over it.
Yeah.
Like with snow, yeah, you'll slide a little bit, but you can catch a little bit, right? But you go and hit a patch of ice, and it jerks you for a sec and you try and correct, that's where you'll fuck up.
Oh, yeah.
100%. 9 times
100%.
out of 10. Like, that's when it'll happen. But if you go over a patch of ice and, like, I mean, it's physics. And I'm not a physicist, but, like, you're going over a patch of ice, going fucking, say, 30 miles an hour, go over a patch of ice, and you don't push the brakes, you don't push the gas, you don't add any other momentum other than you just rolling across it.
Yeah.
You'll just roll across it, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
And that's always how I feel like, you know, most accidents that happen due to ice and the elements like that. Same with when you hit a puddle and you start like hydroplaning. Like, it's when you go to, you panic for a sec and you go to correct, and that's where you fuck up. Like, that's because the wheels will be turned, but you'll still be going that way. You know what I mean? It's exciting. I miss it, dude. It's exciting.
I don't miss it.
It's exciting, bro.
I definitely do not miss it, dude. I don't miss winters at all. Like, like I said, I miss the theme of winter and I miss the environment of winter, but like I don't miss driving in snow. I don't miss.
But that's what's cool about living up here. I mean, fuck, you know, wait till winter, go up to Big Bear or Mammoth or
exactly, yeah, like
whatever. You get the winter experience. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours.
100%, dude. I agree, and like I legit like. I can't even tell you how many times I've had instances like that with ice, dude, and it's just like I'd rather not anymore.
Well, ice is different. I said snow. Yeah. I said
snow,
I like
even
snow.
Even snow though, like when it gets compacted and it
gets
slushy
freezes after a couple of days, it'll freeze.
Yeah,
that's different. That's different.
Even slush though too. I've seen people like flip their cars just over like fucking.
Well, and like slush. What gets dangerous too is it gets all snowy and slushy and like. You can't see the lines on the road. If it's bad enough, you can't see the curbs.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, I remember they added this like roundabout. So, like, you know, we lived miles out of town. They fixed the roads now. So if you go back to my dad's house now, you don't get off my road right onto the highway anymore. You go onto this outer road. You take that most of the way into town. And then you get onto the highway and it's like half a mile, right? And it's like, it is much safer. Like, I mean, I got into an accident one time, like, cause I was pulling off my road onto the highway and there's like no lights there or anything. And I was like, put on my blinker to turn off and there's no fucking lane. So you're just like slowing down on the shoulder, you know? And I was slowing down going like 30, 40 miles an hour to turn. And I got fucking hit by a drunk driver, rear-ended, going. They were going like 100 miles an hour. Yeah.
Damn.
It's like I didn't even see it coming. Like it hit me so hard, my stereo flew out of the dashboard, and my rear view mirror popped off, and it totaled my car. But like, so now they've got it. You know, you take the outer road, and you go in. When you go to get on the highway, there's like 2 roundabouts you have to go over. And I remember those being kind of sketchy when it would get slick out because you go to hit a roundabout.
I hate roundabouts.
And like, I even knew some people who would go to hit a roundabout and they'd hit something slick. Their wheels would be turned. They hit that roundabout, fucks up their alignment. And it's like, you only need to be going a few miles an hour. And that's.
Oh, yeah. No, dude. Roundabouts.
That's a few $1,000.
They have like, I don't know about Kansas City, but like in Bend, dude, I swear they have over 50 roundabouts, dude. Like they just replaced them with all the lights. And I remember in the winters when they first started coming with them, dude, that's exactly what would happen to so many people, dude.
And especially if you got those hard 90-degree angle curbs like that.
Oh,
like
yeah, dude. Exactly, dude. It's awful. And then, like, being in a wreck is already awful enough, dude. Like,
it's just time
consuming. And adding snow to that, I can't even, like, imagine, dude. Like, I was in a car wreck. It was, like, a week before I was graduating high school.
Yeah.
And it's, like, you know, technically it is my fault, and I'm an idiot. But like I was actually on my stereo and it was like touchscreen and it was new.
You're fucking around.
I was fucking around on it. You know what I mean? And next thing I know is just poof. And like I'd like wake up, dude, and I ran into
it knocked you out?
Yeah, dude, it knocked me out for like fucking at least 10, 15, 30 seconds, man.
Did your
like,
airbags deploy?
Oh yeah, dude. Like I don't remember the name of the bone, but it's the bone that is like between your
clavicle.
Like, yeah, yes. So I sprained that from the airbag, which is I heard is like super hard to do.
Yeah,
you have to like take a sledgehammer to that shit.
I feel like I've known people who have broken their clavicle, and there's not even really anything to do. You just kind of like
Yeah.
You can't cast it up. Just kind of put your arm in a sling for a couple weeks.
That's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did.
Watch the motion. Don't sleep on it, you know?
But I remember like getting out of my car and like seeing the school bus and be like, oh, dude, like my phone.
You hit a school bus?
I hit a school
bus. Oh
bus.
my God. Was there kids on it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was
elementary school?
Yes, elementary
oh
school,
God.
bro. It was so bad, dude. Like, I remember being like the talk of the town for like 2 months, dude.
You endangered children.
I know. But it was so funny, bro, because like I remember I had to go to court for it and everything.
Yeah.
And I remember
there's no easy way out of that.
Yeah, there's no easy way out of that. I got everything dismissed because like literally like all the little kids, like there's like 3 that came and they all said
and testified?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dude, I've been wanting to tell this story for years, bro. And like,
so how did you hit the bus? From behind?
Yeah, I hit it from behind. So I was following it behind. I still had a 3 car length distance. Like I was still like following it like legally behind. And like I looked down at my stereo. I swear, dude, it felt like 5 seconds, dude. I was just like skipping. I was just looking at the songs and like skipping them. And the next thing I know, poof. And then like I'm like crawling. Like I wake up like, and I'm like fucking dazed, dude. And I'm like trying to crawl out of the car, dude. And then like I look and it's just fucking a school bus. I'm like, oh.
So you like God. Wake up looking up from your dashboard and you just see all these kids.
No, I didn't even see that, dude. Like, so like my dashboard, it was like cracked. Like not dashboard. My like windshield was cracked like completely, so I couldn't even really see out.
Oh, like spider cracked out.
Yeah. And on top of that, my phone flew out of my windshield. It like took the cord that was on the charger, it like flung it out and went through the windshield. I had like one of those OtterBox cases on, dude, and it like hit the back. I'll have to find photos, dude. It hit like the back of the school bus.
Yeah, I want to see photos of that.
Yeah, dude. I'll have to see if I can look like through my mom's.
So did your car like go kind of like under?
Yeah, so it went under, like it went like halfway under. Like my whole body was like under the school bus. And then, and then like it came back out and then like swerved to the side.
And there's not really like. You're at fault. There's no like explaining.
Yeah, dude, I'm 100% at fault. There was no way explaining it. So we get to court, right? And these little kids, oh God bless their souls. They saved my ass, bro. Like they're like sitting there, like, yeah, it just felt like someone popped a tire. I was like,
so that's did they crazy. Give you like a CNI, careless and imprudent?
They were going to. They actually were gonna get me for reckless endangerment. Yeah, they were gonna get me
scary terms.
Yeah,
to
bro.
Hear from a court.
Yeah, and then they were also gonna give me endangering a child. And then there was one more. This was so long ago, dude. This was probably like 5 years ish now.
That's not that long ago.
To me, it's long because I'm still young. I'm pretty young. Like I'm 23, so to me, like that feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But like,
I was just a kid.
I was just a kid, man. Like it was a week before I was supposed to graduate high school, and like it totally killed my vibe for like graduating. And,
well,
like,
yeah, everybody was like, "Look at you, fucking."
Exactly.
And so small town, so
yeah,
everybody knew.
Everybody knew, bro. And like on top of that, I worked for Taco Bell, so everyone. There's only Taco Bell and McDonald's in the town, like for fast food.
Oh, that is a small town.
Yeah, so like, dude, my graduation class was like 80 people.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was very small, and like everyone knew me as the Taco Bell guy.
Yeah, well, naturally.
Yeah.
We used to
and
go
so
hang
like,
out at the Taco Bell.
Yeah. Like everyone used to hang out at the Taco Bell, bro. I remember I used to hook people up with like cinnamon twists and shit. But like,
fuck, dude, you were kind of royalty, bro.
I guess so. Like in a small town, I guess so. I don't know. Everyone knew me though. Yeah. Like even people I didn't know knew me. Like you know what? It was like that type of situation. But it wasn't for good. Like it wasn't for a good.
No, because this dude crashed in a bus that my little brother was on.
Yeah.
My little brother bumped his head on the
I remember like going like that night I was sitting in the hospital. I was just like reading through the comments on the news section.
You better go to the hospital at that point.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You don't want to be like refuse an ambulance.
Oh no, dude,
You want to be like, I am hurt.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's the one time where you want to like, I fucked up, A. B, take me to the hospital. I'm victimizing myself.
Yeah.
Because you can't just walk away from crashing into a school bus full of kids.
I got so
and be
lucky.
like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. You want to be like, like in a neck brace giving interviews and be like, yeah, it came out of nowhere. Like, you know what I mean? Is that what your lawyer told you to do? You had to get a lawyer, I'm sure.
Dude, I wasn't even smart. Like me and my family weren't even like. It's a small town, bro.
Because
like,
nobody in your family had ever crashed into a bus. So
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Well, see, we like contacted a lawyer and we talked to one, but like my town was so small, bro. You don't need a lawyer to go to court there, bro.
Oh yeah, because you know the judge, you know fucking.
Yeah,
you went to school with the prosecutor and
pretty
shit
much.
Like
I knew like all the cops that were there, bro. Like I actually knew all the cops that were there.
So, oh man,
and not like that. Not that I wanted to know them.
So there was kids on the bus. Was that going to school or coming from school?
Coming from school. So it was after school.
So they didn't even get to miss school because of you.
No.
Oh, they just missed.
Yeah, I was just a full blown asshole, bro.
Dick.
Yeah. So like I could have made the whole day.
Important question. What song were you looking for on your stereo? You said you were searching for music.
I was just like pressing the skip button because I didn't have
the right song wasn't playing.
Yeah, the right song just wasn't playing, and I remember the song that played right before I hit.
Like when you woke up, was it like like
You're gonna
Pursuit of
so
Happiness
hard.
by Kid Cudi playing, and you're like,
I Hate Everything About You by 3 Days Grace. That was the song playing.
You like wake up, everything about
yes,
and you're sitting there talking. You're like, this song's about me.
Yes, dude. Like I was just like, oh my god, dude. I knew as soon as I stepped out of that car, bro. I was like, I'm fucked, dude. And I think the hardest part was the fact that it was right after school, so everyone I went to school with was like driving by, like looking at me, bro.
There's Taco Bell guy.
Yeah, literally.
Can I get some cinnamon twist?
Dude, like I just remember like everyone looking at me. I'm like, my face is like all bloodied up, and I was like, bro, like I don't even like.
Were you sober?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Like I wasn't even like,
because that's where it's like, ooh,
I wasn't like,
now you're treading into weird waters, you know.
Yeah, no,
even
no,
if
dude,
it was
I
like
was
smoking a little bit of a little weed or something.
Back then, like I smoked weed, but I don't smoke weed like I do now.
Now you're a little cheaper,
like,
huh?
Yeah, I'd have to sneak out like to smoke weed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to do that too.
Yeah. Like I'd have to sneak out and like smoke some weed, you know what I mean? I mean, my mom was cool with it, but like she wasn't cool with me doing it at the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I'd have to like leave the house. I guess it wasn't really sneaking out, but like I'd have to leave the house. Really, I'd just go up on top of the roof and she would never know. But like, that's the only time I would smoke weed, man, and like is at nighttime. So like I was completely sober during all of it.
Yeah.
I just made a human error and like a honest mistake.
Happens. That's why it's called an accident. And not like a purposefully crash into a school bus.
Yeah. I know everyone on the comments. I remember reading like all the comments of the hospital because they had like a whole news section about it. And everyone's like, how do you miss a big yellow bus? I was like, I don't even know.
I was trying to change this fucking 3 Day Grace song.
It was like, bro.
Why was that on your fucking queue? Like, why was that?
No, I was just like, I think I was like at the time, I was like really into like that type of music. Like I was just like super into it, and I was on like a Pandora radio station or something.
Oh my god, I still love Pandora.
I haven't used Pandora in years.
I used to all the time, and like I even remember in like high school and stuff, like I started building these playlists, and I still have it, and like, the cool thing about Pandora is like you can modify your playlist based on like your likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
It like changes and adds songs and takes songs off. And so I still ride by the fact that my Jay-Z radio and my Elton John radio station on Pandora are fucking dope ass playlists.
Okay.
Like they are dope ass playlists. And I listen. I don't listen to it on the reg. I don't like. I use Spotify for like podcasts. And
that's fair.
That's where I'm following this one on.
Hey.
And then Apple Music for music, because I'm not paying for Spotify Premium. Like I don't want ads, and Spotify will like, if you go, I don't know, because I don't make playlists. Like I just had to make a playlist yesterday, and like I made the playlist, and it was like really annoying because I couldn't organize the order of the songs, and then Spotify added their own, like it was like a 9-song playlist, and then Spotify added 5 songs. And I'm like, no, get those songs out of here. And it like wouldn't let me delete them. So now it's like a 14-song playlist.
Yeah.
But 5 of those songs I didn't add on there. And so I'm
interesting.
Like, I'm sort of angry at Spotify right now. Like right now, like if you're talk to me yesterday before I made the playlist, fuck Spotify, I don't care. Today I'm like, no, fuck Spotify. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm pretty. Most of my shit goes through Spotify.
Is this podcast on Apple podcast?
It's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Spotify Podcasts, it's on Stitcher and like Google Podcasts and
all of them,
audiobooks and like all sorts of shit.
No, that's great.
Try to be as diverse as possible.
Well, because some are only on certain ones, and that's why. Like, I listen to most of my podcasts on Spotify, but I've gone back to Apple Podcasts because my favorite podcast that I listened to was strictly on Spotify for a few years, and now they've broadened it up.
Let's see, my thing in here is I'd like to like get like signed by like a network or something, and then that would probably like eliminate a bunch of.
Do you do Patreon or anything?
I haven't yet, just because I don't have like a fan base yet, if that makes sense.
I've listened to almost all your podcasts.
I know, but like I don't know, like I don't know particularly how to like what I would do for the Patreon. Also, like
give them fucking bloopers, give them extra shit, maybe a little bonus either pre or post interview or whatever. You know, you just have little incentives.
Yeah. Or whatever. Okay. I might try that. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Yeah. No.
You don't have to ask for a lot.
Oh, that's true.
Fucking like $1, $3, $5, like those would be your tiers or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not making your money off podcasts.
If you get like 300 people to do it, it's like $300.
And then that is $300. But if you did it, just say, right, that could cover the cost of like producing the podcast. Mm-hmm. You're not making any money off of it.
Yeah,
you're
100%.
Just literally keeping even. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then you're making the money if you do it. You know, it'd be like when you start doing ads and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. This podcast has opened like a lot of things for me though too. Like, you know,
people like listening to that shit, man.
Yeah, bro, and like people like it's made me more eager to want to go out and like talk to people about their issues. I even thought about doing this series, and I'd probably do it like on Patreon, where like I take like a mic in the middle of nowhere. I saw it on YouTube, so like it's really just drawing from inspiration from somebody else.
Yeah,
but like. They just like set this mic and this mic stand in there, and people like just say like their darkest secrets, but like they're facing.
That could get dark. Oh, so you're not seeing them.
You're not seeing that, and then they have the option to show their face if they want or not.
What if it's like one of those like silhouetted things, and it's like so and so, out of respect, did not want to share their identity, and it's like, yeah, so I ran into this school bus listening to this 3 Days Great song. No,
but for real though.
So I started listening to your podcast because of you, but like I kept listening just because of the variety of people that you have on, and so it's like, in a way, you're the only kind of consistent thing because your guests have such a variety to them that everybody's always bringing something different to the table.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do.
It's really interesting to just hear different people's bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I agree, dude. I enjoy it too. Like, I enjoy listening to people's issues and like helping them.
Reminds me, I told you my one criticism of your podcast.
Oh yeah. Let me hear it.
I just wish they were longer. I'm that guy.
Oh really?
I'm that guy. Like, I will sit there and listen to like a fucking 3-hour podcast.
Damn.
If it's somebody who's interesting, or the content itself is interesting, or whatever they're talking about is interesting, I'll just keep listening. Maybe not all at once in one sitting, but over the course of a couple of days or whatever. Like, I genuinely, like, I don't really listen to music as much as I did when I was younger. When I'm driving around, especially out here in LA where everything takes forever, dude, 99% of the time I'm listening to podcasts.
Really?
And like those the Smart List podcasts.
Yeah,
they're all about
Jason
Bateman, Sean Hayes, and
Will Arnett.
So those ones are great because they always have interesting people on there, but they're all like maybe an hour, maybe 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Plus all the ads, which really makes it like 38 minutes. And every time it ends, I'm like, dude, I just want to hear them keep talking to that person.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I know I'm in the like minority on that because I genuinely am sort of a fucking nerd, and I like just listening to people, especially if they're interesting. Like, I like listening to them talk. And yours are all roughly right around an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to shoot for an hour mainly because like actually like to be honest, I was just having like a lot of issues. I usually record for like an hour, hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then like sometimes I record for 2 hours and like cut it down. But like I was just having like a cause I had to do all this stuff like on my own by
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
figure it all out. Like I don't have money to pay people to show me or whatnot. And like I just like I don't know, man. Like I want them to be longer, but like the issue I'm running into now, like with the cameras too, is like the battery life. You know what I
Fuck
mean?
the cameras. You
Fuck the
wanna
That's
let
true.
put the shorter one on YouTube or whatever.
That's true. That
Because
is true.
but at the same time, you do a thing and it's consistent every
Mm-hmm.
time. You're getting the same sort of length or whatever. So it's not like it's not like I'm gonna stop listening to it because they're only an hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. Like as soon as the episode ends, especially if somebody like is interesting on, I'm just the type of listener, fan, whatever, with anything that I'm like, oh, this could keep going. Like I could,
I see.
and I would keep listening. I mean, it's the same thing with a movie that's really good. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
when people bitch about like how long a movie is, if it's a really good movie, I'm like, dude,
Right? I
put
agree.
another hour into it, or whatever, and I know that's not feasible, especially like when it comes to like the craft of filmmaking. You want it to like fit, but
I think with my friends, I'm gonna do longer episodes, but like when I start like interviewing, like I guess public figures, whatnot, like
yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna have to keep them short because like a lot of
you
them
don't
are
want to
like,
sit here. I mean, you and I could sit here and shoot the shit for like 4 hours.
oh yeah,
That's
100%,
a whole different
easy.
thing than you got somebody in here that you don't really know on a personal level.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost mean to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fair, but that's my only criticism. I mean, other than that,
It's a good criticism. I appreciate you.
And it's like I'm firmly aware that I could be, in the minority on that because I don't know how other people listen to
Yeah,
podcasts.
100%.
I listen to them like literally.
It's good feedback though. Like I appreciate it because like I always worry about that. Like I always sit here and wonder like, am I doing these too long? Am I doing them too little? Like, am I not like the biggest one is for me is I just don't put out like enough like shorts or whatever or like clips to do it. But that's also because I wasn't like on camera before, so it made it harder. Yeah. But like now I can.
How long you been doing them on camera?
Just like the episode I filmed earlier this week and this one, and then the last episode.
Nice.
The last episode of the last season was on camera too.
Okay, nice. Was that with
It was with Marteverick.
Marteverick, yeah.
Yeah. And that was really fun.
See, I know this shit.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. Like I really do, dude. I get so emotional like when people are like, "I love your podcast." I'm like, bro,
it's
like,
cool, man. You're doing a cool thing, man.
I appreciate it, man.
I just told you multiple times. I've always wanted to do a podcast. I just can't figure out what the like hook would be.
That took me, dude. It took me a long time. It took me, I would say, like, I want to say, like, around like almost a year to like fully fathom everything together. Like,
and it's a whole
like a name.
It's a whole other thing to be like, we're getting a different guest on every week or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a whole different.
My thing is like I'm trying to get guests on every week, but also if I can't, I'm just gonna keep bringing like my friends that I really, really enjoy talking to on continuously.
You've done enough where you can start repeating guests and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost everybody I noticed from your podcast are always like, I'd love to have you back on. Yeah, man, anytime, and I guarantee you those people, if they're available,
100%.
will do it,
Yeah, no, dude, then they're all...
I'll do it. I'll be here tomorrow if you want me to. Maybe not tomorrow.
Facts.
But I'll be here like Monday.
Dude, I'm trying to shoot as much as possible, to be honest.
Yeah,
I might take you up on that, man. But
no, it's good. I dig it, man, and it's like it's a cool format.
It's cool too to like step away because we're filmmakers. Like we are like filmmakers. We're almost graduated and with our bachelors and shit, and like we're getting ready to approach that like next step in our life. And I feel like this was just like a really like big awakening for me because like. I don't know, like, I think I explained in my last episode too, like, I had a dinner with somebody and he just asked me, like, an outbox question because I was really stuck. I was just like, yo, like, I can't figure out what I want to do. Like, I can't make money off this shit right now. Like, it's not, all my other friends are, I don't know how, but, they are. They just get good connections. Mm-hmm. And I'm not bagging on that, bro. I'm so happy for all my friends in every way, dude.
Yeah.
I just had to find my own route, you know what I mean? My own, like, calling. And, like, I just kept seeing on TikTok, like, to be honest, like people doing podcasts, and then started doing research into podcasts and realizing that like there's like a few million, which in retrospect seems like a lot, but when you realize the planet's full of like 7 billion people, it's not a lot. So it's like I'm like it's not a super
When it's not like
oversaturated.
everybody's listening to everything, and like,
Yeah.
you know, I like the podcasts I listen to are like movie podcasts, and I've got like 3 or 4 of those that I listen to religiously. And then I've got like my nerdy like historical podcasts that I know do not have big audiences.
Yeah.
But like I dig it because like I was
And that's why people make that's
yeah.
why I keep making podcasts, is because even like the same like even if it's like 2 people that are like, oh dude, I love your shit, like that keeps me going, man. Let alone like I can't imagine millions of people, you know what I mean? So
Because the people that are listening to your shit are probably gonna keep listening to your shit.
exactly.
And so, I mean, as long as you don't do anything fucking crazy, run into another school bus or something, like you're not gonna, you know.
True, I could just see it now, man. Headlines everywhere. But like
Taco Bell guy turned podcaster hit another school bus full of children.
oh no.
Can I get some cinnamon twists?
Yeah, get some cinnamons on the side too. But nah, dude, like on some real shit, like with the podcast, man, I just really need an escape from filmmaking because it's a very hostile environment as well.
No, it's good. And it's a different format, whereas like instead of all the planning and stuff you gotta do for filmmaking, you can sit there and just sort of shoot the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean I've learned as I've gotten older, I love like so when I was younger, my grandparents I'd go stay at my grandparents' house, and they'd always have friends and relatives and different people come by to visit, right?
Yeah.
And it was always so boring for me as a kid, like, oh no, don't bother us, we're visiting.
Yeah.
Right? And like now that I'm getting older, like I fucking love visiting.
Oh, dude, I love it. I love visiting my family now, dude. I mean, like,
I love just sitting there shooting the shit, and it's like, oh yeah, no, don't bother us, we're visiting. I think that's great.
I think it's so good, dude. And like, I don't know, man. I have nothing bad to say about podcasting. I have nothing like, it's just, it's so freeing too. You know what I mean?
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can talk about it. You can bring on anyone you want. Like, my thing is like, I have like, you can make whatever rules you want too. You know what I mean? Like my rule is like no sports, no religion, like not in like.
So let me tell you about Jesus.
I mean, in a sense of like you can't like shit on a religion, or like you can't.
All right, so let me tell you about Jesus.
Right. But like I had just like basic rules like that, and so you can kind of just like do your own thing, and like it's made me I made it like a legal business and everything with like my production company and stuff, so like
yeah
now I put this on that too, and it helps like I can write things off with this as well now, and like that's cool as fuck. Even though I don't make any money off of it, it's cool, you know what I mean? It's fun to do, and I don't know, man. Like I really enjoy it. It allows me to get closer to my friends, like on ways like I never like thought to. You know what I mean? Like everyone just like feels more relaxed. Like I don't get to like have one-on-one conversations with people like this unless I'm doing this. Like you can't like usually like when I see my friends, we're like on set or like at school.
Or something's always going on. Somebody's coming or going, or
you never like really get to sit down and like chill with your friends at home anymore and just like smoke
or even when you're doing that, it's like everybody's like like in my case, a lot of my friends are always wanting to like go out and do stuff. Yeah, and like I get it. I do love doing that, especially when I have free time and like expendable finances to do that. But like in my case, and it's a little selfish, but it's fuck it, it's what I want to do. I'd rather not go out to the bar and get all fucked up when I can like stay home and like I'm like, because I go out, have fun, yeah, that's great, or I could stay home and write 10 pages, right? You know what I mean? And it's like, and that doesn't help anybody but me. Yeah. And it's like, but at the same time, like, I don't know, man. I didn't come out here to like go out and get fucked up all the time. I've done that enough times that like I don't get the satisfaction or the gratification out of that. Whereas like I stay in and write 10 pages long enough. Well, now check out this script. Right? hey, we're ready to shoot this. And it's like, when did you have the time to get this done?
It's like when you were partying, homie.
Remember all those times I told you I couldn't come out tonight?
Yeah.
Like, that was when I was getting
I'm the same way now, dude. Like, and I'm starting to affect my wife on it too. Like, she'll start blowing, like, I wouldn't say blowing people off, but like, she's just like, she'll be like, I don't want to, I'd rather, educate myself now.
Well, she's going back to school, right?
Soon. Yeah. As soon as I finish, she's going to go back.
Yeah.
We're kind of just switching roles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I saw this, you know who Jay Shetty is, right? He's like let's see here. He's like, yeah, he's like an old monk. This dude, you ever see his face? You've really? He's like a
does
huge,
he do like?
He's a huge mental health figure.
Does he do like videos and stuff?
Yes. He's got like
maybe
15 million on Instagram or something like that. Yeah, but dude, he like ever since I saw this video of him, and he's like, I did a study, and the most successful people in the world, they read, they educate themselves, and they choose to constantly learn.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's true though.
Yeah. And then he realized that the people that do that read, that constantly try to teach themselves something, that constantly try to learn, are incredibly successful. And the people that seek entertainment, like going out to bars, drinking, watching movies all the time. I mean, we're guilty of that, but like not as
guilty pleasures.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But like, without having control of like what you do for entertainment and not controlling yourself, he's like, it's why so many people sit there in slumps, and they sit there. It's because they choose entertainment over education.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just.
And it's like, and when I say like
searching for that next high type shit.
Yeah, and like when he says education, he doesn't mean go to school.
No, read a fucking book.
You're like, not even that, man. Like you could watch a fucking YouTube video and educate yourself on like how to do something in marketing, or like, you know what I mean?
That's
like,
true. Yeah,
constantly just like educate yourself. Like you can still watch a form of entertainment, but
because pretty much any sort of like quote unquote degree you can go and get right now, you can find the textbooks online.
Exactly. It's like I tell like my wife, we've had this discussion a million times, and I'm like, babe, like you don't need to go to college. Like,
what's she wanting to go to school for?
Marketing. And I'm like, you just don't need a degree for that anymore, especially if because she wants to go into social media marketing. And I was like, you definitely don't need a degree for that.
Yeah, my sister does that.
But she pointed something out too. She's like, her circumstances are different because she is a foreigner and she immigrated to this country. So her second language is English. And sometimes I forget that because she's so good at it now that I forget Portuguese. Yeah. And so like, I forget that. And like, I didn't realize that maybe she needs school to feel like she can educate herself properly, because the more I thought about it when she said that was like, she might not understand words that I understand. She might not understand a lot of things I understand about college. And like, that's why she needs to go. And so we have fully determined she's going to go back to school. But like you were saying, like, you don't really need it anymore.
Well, I think the argument there would be that, yes, especially if you're watching like YouTube videos, Instagram, shit like that, like, and you hear all those people, like you hear like Elon Musk, for example. I know he said that he doesn't look at college degrees on like his applications, right?
Yeah.
But how many people who run their own companies are doing that, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas like there is the argument that just the fact that it says college degree as an employer, I might be more likely to look at that application or look at that resume. And I know there are plenty of examples of companies and people who don't look at that stuff. They look at experience. But are those just like the vocal people about it, right? Yeah. Because for every fucking tech person that runs a company that talks about it online, there's 5, 6, 10 other people aren't talking online that might or might not be doing that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It always varies. I agree. And like, it's a hit or miss too. And also it's like, I think that like, it still stands pretty strong that like college isn't for everybody as well.
It's not. And it depends on like what you're doing for. I mean, I'm only going to school for literally some surface level reasons. You know,
Me too, dude. Like my reason for going to film school, people have been telling me for years. Like, I don't understand why you're doing that.
you don't
like,
really need to.
You don't need to, but it's like the way I viewed it was like, do I want to spend the next 10 years trying to figure out all this stuff, or do I want to spend the next 3 years that I have left of all the college credits already built up anyways?
Yeah,
and just finish out, and like then I'll be super like really smart in my field, which I do feel like finally now, like all my friends are like getting really good at what they're doing, and like whether it's editing or cinematography or directing, like everyone's getting so good, and it's kind of getting like
it helps you build connections too.
Exactly.
For like they're talking about, oh, you can't do X, Y, and Z without experience, and you're making the connections with people who their sole purpose is to do, to make film, to filmmaking, right? And so it's like you're working with those people. So even though you are going and getting an education, the stuff you're doing in your free time is all building towards those experiences, because you're just working and commuting and interacting with those people.
100%,
right? Which is like, surrounding yourself with like-minded people is one of the biggest components towards success, I think, in whatever field you're trying to excel in. And it's the same with like, you never, like the old saying of like, you never want to be the smartest person in the room. When you go hang out with a bunch of fucking film nerds and you're a filmmaker, probably not the smartest person in the room at different subjects.
Exactly.
Like, I can talk to you about one thing really well, but I know multiple people who can like fill me in on other stuff.
Exactly.
And it's awesome.
Yeah,
and I think you start learning too.
I think it also helps a lot. Like if you're gonna, in just life in general, is the people that you surround yourself around too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's a huge thing. Like I now, like anybody that's like negative in any way towards like my career, my lifestyle, who I hang out with, whatnot. Like I tell them like, that's tough luck, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can. I don't know how to explain it properly.
Well, I totally understand what you mean. I mean, it's like literally that's what's cool about being out here is you can easily surround yourself with people who have fucking left their small town in Oregon, right? To come out here or Kansas City. Like, whereas I was back in Kansas City, I knew some film people, but it wasn't nobody that was like obsessed.
Yeah, and see in Oregon, I had worked on a Netflix show, but it was like even like on that professional setting, people weren't obsessed.
Yeah, and so you come out here and you've got people who've uprooted their lives to come to a different area that's known for this one thing, and those are the people who are out here.
Yeah.
So it's like, and there are even out here, I'm sure you've noticed, like there's fucking slackers out here.
Oh,
there are people who say they want to do. I don't even know how many times I've talked to people who are writers. I'm saying that with air quotes, writers. And I'm like, what have you written? Like, show me something, send me something. Like I'll give you fucking feedback, notes, just chat about 100%. It. Like I said, I love visiting, right? And they're like, oh, I haven't really written anything in like 4 or 5 months. I'm like, well, then you're not a fucking writer. Like, if you're not fucking kind of doing it every day or as much as
at least once a week,
much as you can. And I understand other things come up, but it's like you gotta make time for it.
Oh, 100%.
And it's like, oh, I could have done this thing, but I went to this festival this weekend. It's like, well, you didn't have to go to the festival. I understand. Go to a festival. I'm not saying anything against that. I'm not saying anything against that. I'm just saying, like, but don't tell me you couldn't write something over the weekend because you were going out and getting fucked up.
Yeah, but like, what about the whole car ride there, bro? Or like, what about the time you had laying, in bed, or like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, absolutely.
People make excuse. I've learned too is, no matter.
I'll sit there trying to brainstorm with people, and they're like, "We get it, dude. You fucking like Halloween. Get over it. Like, move on. Why don't you go make a fucking movie already?" I'm like, I'm working on it, dude.
Dude, is there anything in movie? Is there anything that like really particularly? I mean, I know, but I don't know if the audience knows. Is there anything particularly like that really brought you out here? Why you decided to like pursue film, man?
A few things. I was. It's just like for as long as I can remember, it's always something I wanted to do. I didn't know I wanted to be a writer or director. I always wanted to be an actor. Like I always thought that was so cool.
That's why I came out here was to be an actor.
And I didn't come out here for that. I always thought I wanted to be an actor because I remember being really young and not understanding what like the concept of acting was.
Yeah.
And it was actually a lot of like special features on like DVDs and stuff where you would see like bloopers and behind the scenes and commentaries and stuff like that, where I was like, oh my God, that looks like so much fun. Like that's what they get to do all day, every day. That's their job. Like my dad's job was in an office, right? My mom owned her own company and had her own computer room in the house, like a printing company. That was her job, right? But you could go out and be on a set and be an army man one day. You could be a drug dealer one day. You could be a fucking firefighter one day. You could be Charlie Chaplin one day if you're shooting a period piece or a biopic. Like, that was awesome.
I agree. That's what got me into acting.
That was so exciting. I'm like, you just get to go and be something for a little bit and like work all day, and everybody, you got all these people working towards the same goal to create this one thing. And then it's done and you move on. And that was always so like fascinating to me. And so, you know, my mom was kind of supportive of that. I did like some acting classes and stuff growing up. I fucking did some plays.
You did theater for a while too, and in community college as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I did some theater. And that was actually, so like before I went to community college, which I didn't even finish.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't finish community college either.
I wrote my first feature in like 7 days, and it was like a modernized. It's like a modern day Romeo and Juliet, but with like street gangs, like sort of like West Side Story, but it was like basically if you take like a biker gang, sort of like Sons of Anarchy meets like a mafia type gang, like trying to control, like, so like it's like Sons of Anarchy meets The Godfather, but Romeo and Juliet, and you got these two gangs trying to control a city, and it was Romeo and Juliet. Like I pretty much plagiarized Romeo and Juliet. Like takes place over 4 days.
Like Leo's Romeo and Juliet.
Or just
the actual story.
Well, Leo's Romeo and Juliet is Romeo and Juliet just shot to look like modern times, but all the text is.
I know that. Real. I know that's right. Yeah.
But like the timeline of Romeo and Juliet, of how it only takes place over a few days, and I basically took that of like it all takes place over just a few days, and that was like my first screenplay, and it sucked. It was really bad. The story was cool.
The first everything sucks. Really
bad. And I never went back, and it was sort of, I fell out of love with it. I never went back and finished it or whatever. But then I started going to community college, and I started taking this acting class, and that really turned me on. And I started writing short films. And then I started taking this writing class, like with the same acting teacher.
Yeah.
And so like the next semester I was taking like an acting class again and a writing class. And we basically had to write a play a week, a short play, like 10, 20 pages.
Damn.
And that, because my big thing was like, how do you write dialogue? I couldn't figure out how to write dialogue. Dialogue was always tripping me up. My dialogue always seemed written, didn't seem spoken. You know, it didn't seem real. And so writing these plays really like turned it out. Like you would be forced to like not overthink it. Like you got to get the content out, you know? And that was like a really, and I did that for like, dude, there's like a 12-week course. We did that like every week, every Monday. A cold reading of your script either got read or you didn't show up with anything. So you wanted to show up with something.
Oh, yeah.
You wanted to hear it fucking read. And they give you notes and whatever. And that quickly, within a few weeks, turned into like, they were doing these like showcases, like on Friday nights, like sort of community showcases, like in the little theater there. And they'd start doing my plays. That turned into like, I was writing and directing and workshopping like my own plays, like would come in. It was like Saturday Night Live. You come in with a play on Monday, you cast it, you direct it, you workshop it, and then it gets shown like twice on a Friday, and then it gets thrown away, never brought back up. And I was like, this is it. Like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
And like, I'll always still being obsessed with movies. And I did some acting. I acted in, you know, some plays and stuff like that. I, you know, obviously didn't write or have anything to do with that, but it just turned into one of these things where it's like, okay, because all of my plays, my little short plays were like scenes, one scene. And I was like, that's how you write a fucking movie. Like, that's how you would, not a movie, a scene for a movie. Right? I was like, oh, you just fucking change a little bit of the format and it's a screenplay. And that's when it was like, okay, here's the plan,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
See, it's like for me, like it took me a really long time to get into writing. It's like I would say even till like probably not till like 2 years ago, to be honest. Like I mean, I always journaled, like
Yeah, me too.
I always
Yeah.
journaled like my thoughts and stuff, but I never like really wrote like any piece
Yeah.
unless it had to be for school, and that would be
It's
the
for,
only reason.
but see, that's what this was like. You had to show up on
Yeah.
Monday with a script.
Yeah. But I mean, like more like English classes and shit like that. Like
back
that,
in high school.
Yeah, like back in high school, it's to like, when
and they weren't telling you to write a short play or
no,
write a short story or a prose or something
exactly.
like that.
Like write your life story, like shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I think what really clicked is when I got to this film school, and I didn't like it at first, but I continuously like forced myself to write every day, even if it was like for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Even just like not even journal, just like I don't know, like there's this series I'm developing that takes place in my hometown, and I started it like 2.5 years ago. And I just wrote down the idea, and that was my writing for the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just something simple like that. But it was the idea of it. And then the next day I moved on to like the characters, and I started naming the characters. And
I mean, that's writing.
It's
that's
writing.
all work that needs to be done at some point.
Exactly.
So if you're knocking it out, you're knocking it out.
And that's what I realized. That's
script format to do writing.
Exactly. And that's when I realized that that's writing every day. That's where I used to think writing every day is sitting at a computer, chopping down, writing a whole ass story. And it's like, no, it's
a little bit.
It's developing yourself. It's developing your story.
Yeah.
It's developing, the basis of your whole, idea. And like my favorite thing about writing too is, especially these days, after I watched Squid Game, I realized you can make anything.
You can make whatever you want.
You can make whatever you want.
And you don't. And the cool thing is too is like your story or your idea or whatever is gonna evolve. So like when you come up with the conception of your idea,
mm-hmm.
and like say, it might be weeks before that idea in your head, maybe weeks, might be months, might be years before you actually start and go, I'm ready to start writing.
Yeah.
But even then, day one of your writing to when it's finished, that idea is changing.
Oh, bunch. 100%.
It's going to evolve. And then you've also got to think about whatever personal and emotional shit you're going through at the time. That's got to show in whatever
100%
you're working on. Not literally, but in some sort of weird metaphorical or subtextual way, or else you're not fucking doing anything real. And it's going to come off. You're going to read it later when you're done and feel like, why does this feel fake or whatever? And it's because you weren't being like truthful to yourself in the moment. Like you gotta like be vulnerable, and it's that same feeling you get when you like show somebody your work
mm-hmm.
for the first time. Like there's a sense of vulnerability of like getting 100%. That feedback the first time.
Nothing's scarier than standing in, like, I mean, obviously there are a lot of scarier things, but like I would say in like filmmaking aspect and writing aspect, there's nothing scarier to me at least than getting up in front of people or even like a few people and like showing your work, because it's like it's either gonna go very sour or it's gonna go great, or you're gonna get in between.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing of like when you're showing somebody your final cut of your film for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't like to be in the room with people.
Yeah,
I don't even like to be there. Like I'm like, do this, get back to me when it's done, let me know your thoughts. It's a vulnerable thing, man, but it's like it's cool when people respond to it.
Yeah,
it really is. Like it's the best feeling in the world.
It is.
When people respond to it.
I've been learning that I know you're doing a thesis and I'm also doing a thesis. I shoot my thesis by the time this episode comes out, probably within a week or so, I'll be shooting my thesis, which is, if people don't know what a film thesis is, it's a little short film you have to do, or a feature length, whichever you choose to do, you have to do in order to graduate. And so we're getting ready for that.
Yeah, it's your student film.
Yeah, it's student film, and it's a requirement to graduate for us. And we're both very excited about it. But what I learned with my thesis was that like it's so rewarding, and like it feels so good to have people like properly respond to it and like with enthusiasm, and people be like, I'm so fucking psyched to do this, I'm so fucking pumped to do this. And it's like,
no, exactly,
wow. It's
and
like,
you're doing
shit.
You're doing that story you were talking to me about a few months ago.
Yeah, Hold On Tight. Yeah, the one about my mom.
It's a pretty personal story, man.
Yeah,
and that's always, that can be real scary to like.
It's really scary
open up like that.
And like people kept being really hard on me. They're like, Joseph, like you need to get casting done. I'm like, you guys don't get it. Like I know I shouldn't shoot for perfection, but it's very personal, and I want it to be kind of similar to what it was actually like. And so like I didn't cast my main actress till probably like 2 weeks ago,
Well,
which
that
was
can
like
be hard too, because there is a sort of healthy and beneficial amount to like how close to perfection you want to get, because you at the same time you're telling a true-ish personal story, but you need to understand that this is a story, and that story needs to stand on its own to the people who don't know you or know your experience. And the people who know you and know your experience are obviously going to have a different effect on it. But you're not making this for them.
Exactly.
You're making it for people who have no idea who Joseph Grable is, right? Who are going to watch this as its own creative piece and go, oh, wow, right?
Yeah.
They're going to respond to it from that piece and that piece alone. And so I do think that obviously we all want to strive for a certain level of perfection, and that can be, you can succumb to that too by overworking it. But it's especially hard when you're doing a really personal story like that. But you need to find that healthy way of like separating your personal experience from the work of art, the work of fiction that you are making. Right. And that's a cool balance too, because it's like then at the end of the day, when it's all done, it becomes its own thing that is completely different than what you started from, but it also represents that personal experience you were like basing it off of.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and that's one of the coolest things about creating anything like that, I think. You know,
I agree, dude. I love the process of creating things. Like people keep asking me like what I'm gonna do after school, and I'm instantly development assistant. Instantly.
Development assistant.
Yeah. I love the process of developing a story, and like even the business side of it. Like I've enjoyed all of it. Like it's been stressful. It's been very stressful. Like especially since I'm like working with kids and stuff, and I have to like legally get cleared for all that by the government and stuff.
Yeah, you gotta have guardians on set.
Yeah, I gotta have like
I know, what's the like labor hours on that? Like 6 hours.
Yeah, I can only have the kids on there for 6 hours, which is fine. Like it's not gonna take me 6 hours.
You can only have them on set for 6 hours. You can only be cameras rolling.
I think I can only have them on set for 6 hours.
Okay.
I think
that's just scheduling around that.
Yeah, but that's easy to schedule around. Like my scenes aren't very big with the kids. You know what I mean? And like I actually just cast the final kid this morning, so like all my casting's done finally. And like it's weird because like I got 3 weeks left until I start shooting, and like
it's crunch time, bro.
It's crunch time, and it's time to go, and like it's very nerve-wracking, and it's nerve-wracking to like realize that we're just like 3 to 4 months away from graduating, and like we wait so long for these opportunities and these moments, and then like we're here and it just doesn't even feel like it yet. I don't know about you, but like for me, like I feel like it just hasn't like really clicked in my head that I'm graduating, like because I've been in school since 2017. Like in college I had to start like the very bottom because I fucked off all high school pretty much until my last year and barely graduated, got good enough grades to like barely graduate. Like I graduated I think with like a 1.9.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude, like I fucked off in high school. It was bad. Like I could show you my transcript. I'm gonna like post the transcript on the podcast. Like I don't give a fuck, bro. Like I graduated like a 1.8 or like a 1.9 or something like that, and I just like felt so much shame from that, dude. Like, and so like I don't know, man. It's really, I had to start at the bottom, like in the very lowest of math classes, the lowest of English classes, the lowest of science class, all of it. Like I started at the bottom, and I started while I was still in high school as well, because I was pretty much like just doing online to catch up.
Yeah,
and so I was just doing that as well. And so it's been like 6 years for me, and I'm just like, I'm done. I'm like, I'm ready to go. But like now that I'm here, like I feel like it's not that big.
Yeah,
it just like, because everyone has a degree.
It is and it isn't, but it's like, you know, what are you gonna do with a film degree? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna make films or be some critic or, you know, be a development assistant or something like that. Like you're already narrowing your professional window in that aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But I get it. It is sort of like a weird thing because you start and you have all the time in the world, and then you get to this moment, and it's like, what have I done? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's sort of like that with everything. For me, it's a little different because after my whole theater experience in community college, life happened, a bunch of shit happened, and I ended up fucking around, and I sort of wasted some time.
Yeah, but I don't think that's your fault. I think that's just normal with the situation that you had to deal with. I remember, I lost like my brother, and that's what fucked me up in high school. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't even imagine.
And that, like, I didn't lose him in high school. I lost him probably when I was like in the 6th grade or approaching the 6th grade.
Still fucked you up, though.
But I was so young to not comprehend what really happened, and I think once I really got into high school, like, it really started affecting me. And then, like, loss is a hard thing, man. It takes sometimes more than decades to get over. You know, my mom's not over it.
I don't think you ever really kind of fully ever get
over
it.
No, dude. Like, I miss my brother all the time.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how you feel, man.
It sort of, so like, yeah, my mom passed away. It'd be like 5 years. 5 years this October, actually, in a few weeks. But it sucks because she was always like, you know, it's cliche, like your mom's your biggest fan or whatever.
Yeah.
But she like really was. Like, when I would tell people I wanted to make movies and stuff, like, you don't do that in Missouri.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, that's not,
you don't do that.
That's not either. A career that is even like on a fucking radar. Like, that's it's literally the definition of a pipe dream. And
it's literally laughable where we live.
Yeah. And it's laughable. So my mom was always the one that was like that first script I wrote, that Romeo and Juliet one. Like, she was the first person who read it, and she literally came back with notes.
Oh, that's awesome! That's awesome. What a MVP.
She didn't even like tell me, yeah, John, this is really good. She was like, okay, so like I remember she was always showing me movie. Like, I see your Jaws poster. Like, I remember her showing me Jaws for the first time.
I love Jaws.
And like, yeah, she would always fucking show me movies. We always went to movies together and stuff. And like, we could have, like, with nobody else in my family. And I love, you know, my brother and sister and my dad, like, you know, but I can't have those conversations, like a film criticism, like debate or conversation, like an in-depth conversation with them for whatever. And my mom never went to school for film. I don't even know if she never wrote anything or whatever. Yeah. She just like really kind of knew her shit.
Yeah.
Like, she was a big cinephile, like knew her shit when it came to all that.
That's awesome, dude.
And so, you know, it's weird because, like, especially like being out here and stuff, like, it's one of the things that I miss the most. It's like these little things happen, or I make something, or I finish writing something, or I go and see a new movie, or I'm on a fucking podcast, and it's like the first part, like, I just wish I could be like, hey, Mom, check this out. Like, that's one of the things where every once in a while it hits me like, fuck. I just wish I could be like, share this with you or whatever.
I can't imagine, dude.
And so that's kind of the, you know.
Yeah, moms are like, that's like my worst fear, because moms are superheroes, bro.
Yeah,
they just are, dude.
And like, she had her faults and stuff, plenty of faults and whatever, and you know, but like, I mean, you could sit there and talk to her about movies, and even people who knew what they were talking about would be like, oh shit, like,
yeah, she's well educated, like in whatever she's interested in.
Yeah, like in that sense. And
she had interest in life.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's one of the things that, like, you know.
Yeah, and I think
it hits me, and like it's, you know, as time goes on, it's easier and shit like that. But it's like, you know, sometimes I'll just be sitting there and I'm like, dude, I wish I could just call my mom and complain about fucking all this bullshit that I'm fucking going through.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%, dude. I totally, I can't fully get it because I've never lost my mom, you know. But sometimes I wish like my brother was here to be like, yo, bro, like, let's go on vacation, like, on me, man. Or like, you know, like when I start having kids with my wife, which will probably be within the next few years, dude, like, they're never gonna meet like their uncle, and you know what I mean, like, and he was really fun as a kid, and you know. And then like when I lost my uncle too, like he was like my father figure at the time. And, you know, like that was super devastating. That, like, you know, I'm not going to say it felt like losing a parent because I could never imagine what that feels like. I could never imagine. But it felt like a piece of my heart definitely like left. You know what I mean? Because I was very like close to him. I wasn't like, I was close with my other uncle. I mean, I'm way closer with him now, but not as much as I was with this uncle. And, you know, like ever since then, dude, like, you know, I want to, you know, like you're saying about your mom, like I always want to like text him. Mm-hmm. And just be like, yo, like, check this shit out I'm doing. Like, you know, like what I can't, like, sometimes I sit back and like I realize how long, not only how long it's been, but also like how crazy that time just passes by.
There's so much shit that's happened.
Yeah.
Like and, just on a global scale.
Yeah. And like, you know? I was thinking the other day, like his daughter, when he passed away, she was like 6. And she's like almost like 14 now.
Yeah.
And it's just, it blows my mind that like all this time has passed and like, you know, like I can't imagine how you feel, man. Like I just really can't, like, especially since like my mom is like my go-to person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like I would, you know, my mom is the reason like I'm still here, you know, like my mom is the one that was like, no, like don't you dare like pull the plug on my son, like with my heart surgery and stuff. It's like, don't you fucking dare, like don't you fucking even think about it. Yeah. And she stuck with that for years, dude. My doctors told me all the time, they're like, yo, your son's gonna pass away. Your son's gonna pass away. And my mom just like never gave up. So like, dude, moms are superheroes. And like, yeah, I full-heartedly feel for you, man. Like, you know, I might not understand the pain, but I mean, I feel for you. And like I understand the pain of loss. And like loss is so,
it's strange.
You can't explain it.
Yeah, it's weird.
To anybody that hasn't experienced it. Like I love my cousin to death, and he's a really cool dude, but he's never experienced like a loss, like a sibling or a parent or like someone that close of that caliber. And he was just trying to tell me like, you know, like this feels worse than this. I'm like, you can't compare pains, man, especially if like you've never like felt it. And like I found myself, it was really hard for me to even describe what I meant. He's like, what do you even mean? I'm like, I just can't describe it to you, man. Like the only people that understand are people that have also you know what I mean?
It's one of those things where it's like it's exactly like that, especially in the moment, right? But at the same time, it's one of the things that you zoom out on a broad spectrum, everybody can relate to, because we're all gonna lose somebody.
Exactly.
You're gonna lose eventually, somebody close to you, and you're gonna die. And death is scary.
It is.
Right? Dying is scary. But it's the one commonality that's always been there, that's always gonna be there. Doesn't matter your race, religion, fucking ethnicity, where you live,
how much money you
have. It happens to everybody. Everybody.
And your life can go
exactly
like that.
You can hit a school bus full of kids. And you're done. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know.
It could happen like that. Just listening to 3 Days Grace song.
Oh my god. Yo, dude, like people tell me all the time, they're like, how the fuck did you survive that? Just dude, like I'm gonna like find photos tonight.
Yeah, I want to see pictures
and send them to you tonight, because you're gonna see like the whole front end of my car is crushed. Like the engine is like where like the like passenger seat pretty much like the whole front of the car is crushed.
I bet, man. I mean, shit.
And like I sit there and I'm just like, it was a miracle, dude. And the fact is, the only thing I walked out with was that sprained bone that we talked about earlier, and then like a cut on above my eyebrow.
Dude, I got in a car wreck once. It's like my girlfriend in high school, and she had just gotten a car, and like a lot of times I drove her car. Yeah. But like just this time she was like, I'm driving the car. Like, yeah, it's your fucking car.
Yeah, 100%.
And we're driving, and like we were just going to the corner, like the gas station, like it was like half a mile away. 90% of the time I never even wore my seatbelt. And for whatever reason, I like have a memory of this. I'm sitting in the passenger seat and I went to go put my seatbelt on. And then I had a thought of like, I'm just going down the street. I don't need my seatbelt. And then I had another thought of like, I'm holding the seatbelt. Just put it on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's already in your hand.
100%.
Just put the seatbelt on. We're driving. We're on this fucking little farm road. There's nothing on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going. We kind of like go down a hill. And she's like speeding. Like out of nowhere, she just kind of swerved or something. And like we started swerving. And like hit the barbed wire fence. And like my passenger door like smashed up. And like the car wrapped around a tree.
Damn.
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy.
And like the window broke in my face, and like the like dashboard was like I remember like when I had to climb out of the car on her side, and like the dashboard was like scrunched in, and I had to like wedge my leg out of it.
Damn.
And she ended up getting like some whiplash or something and went to the hospital, and I walked out with nothing other than like I was dumping shards of glass out of my shoe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like you could see this tree right here, like with the car. I'm like, if I didn't have my seatbelt on, that's my fucking head explodes on that tree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was so weird that like she was driving, her side of the car was fine, but she was the one that was injured and I was fine. Like I remember her parents even thinking that, like drilling both of us of like who was driving the car.
Yeah.
And we had to come up with, because it didn't make any sense. Like, how the fuck did you crash the car?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it didn't make any sense. 100%. So we like told everybody, we're like, yeah, deer jumped out. Like, and it wasn't even, nobody was fucked up. Like, it was just weird that it happened.
Yeah.
Out of fucking nowhere.
Well, see, like the thing like with the school bus is where I crashed into. I never saw it, but someone told me that they slammed on their brakes. And that's why I went flying underneath the school bus.
In front of the bus.
Yeah, someone
hit the brakes in front of the bus, caused the bus to stop.
Yeah, or something ran across the road. I don't remember what it was. Yeah. But like there was a reason.
So it was the bus driver's fault.
It was.
Yeah.
It was the bus driver's fault, but it was ultimately my fault because I endangered children.
Yeah. Well, so why didn't they endanger children for being the one?
See, the bus driver didn't have to go to court. I was fucking pissed, bro, because I was like, yo,
that
I had like
country lawyer.
Hey. I had like 4 people being like, yo, like that bus driver like definitely slammed on those brakes. Like it, like you should have been paying attention, which I definitely should have. 100%. Like that's my fault. But like it wasn't entirely my fault because that happened in a matter of like a second.
No, that's how it happens.
But people don't believe you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like you have to like come out, like I just stopped telling people that in general, you know, when I say the story, because it's like half the time people don't even believe me. They're like, oh, okay, Joseph, okay.
Yeah.
So like I get it. Like you have to kind of like make up a story or like forget a parts of stories to just like, you know, make it make sense.
Yeah, because sometimes it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Like people are like, what were you doing? I'm like, I legit don't fucking know. Like I was like surfing through my music. Like in like within 5 seconds, I'm the fucking steering wheel's like pressed against my chest and I'm like fucking like crawling out of my car. And like I remember like I like, you know, like in a movie where like they like literally like just like hit the floor when they get out. That's like literally me. Like my back just like hit the floor. Like I crawled out and just like hit the floor and like crawled back up on my car.
Oh my God.
Cause like I was like paralyzed.
Yeah.
Like half my body felt paralyzed for like a good like I want to say 2 minutes, dude. And like I like literally couldn't like move my legs.
Yeah.
And like I thought like I like fucked my legs up really bad. And like
part of that was probably shock.
It was. That's what my doctor told me it was. He was like, your body shut down because you were in absolute shock because you didn't see it coming whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's just your body going into like self-defense mode.
Yeah,
you have all that adrenaline, and then that adrenaline goes away, and now you're like weak.
Yeah,
you know,
100%. But, anyways, man, you know, this conversation is just, I loved it, man. I really did.
Yeah,
it was
calling it.
I'm calling it, yep, because, dude, it's just, I feel like if we leave it at this, it'll be so good. And it'll be so, I feel like this will be my best episode yet, to be honest.
Oh, works for me, man. If you want me to come back, we can talk about the stuff you actually wanted to talk about. We can do that. I'm sorry,
no, dude,
steered the conversation
no,
into,
dude,
into the back of a school bus.
No, not at all, dude. My podcast is all about, just being yourself, and I'm just grateful that you came on and were yourself, man.
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah,
man.